All right, moving on to similes. So make sure you turn to your similes and metaphors page in your composition notebook to start taking notes on similes. So simile, probably heard of these before. This is probably one of the most common figurative language parts that you will see written down in books and texts, in stories, and then also probably the easiest one to remember. So simile compares two things using like or as. Those are pretty easy words to find in a sentence or a text, and right when you find those, you probably already automatically assume, oh, that's a simile. Okay, so compares two things using like or as. Oops, I'll backtrack a little bit here. So examples down below. Busy as a bee. We see the word as in there. It's comparing the busyness of this bee to the bee. So they're busy as a bee. Clean as a whistle. Clean and whistle are being compared to each other, or something that is really, really clean is being compared to a whistle. And then they fought like cats and dogs. So they, maybe that's a brother and a sister, or two siblings, or best friends, or a cousin. They fought. They is those two people. They're being compared to the cats and the dogs, because cats and the dogs a lot of the times don't get along. So that like is used in the middle there to compare those two things. A couple more examples I'd like you to copy down. The snow was like a blanket. Okay, so that means that snow and blanket are being compared to each other with that word like in the middle. And it's saying that the snow is covering the entire ground, just like a blanket would cover an entire bed or your entire body, or maybe on a couch. It's covering the entire surface that it's taking up. So the snow is covering the entire surface of the ground. Another example, she ate like a bird. So birds don't eat much. They kind of nitpick at seeds and different smaller items in nature. And so it's comparing this girl to a bird, that she's eating like a bird. She probably doesn't eat a whole lot, or is a very picky eater, and doesn't really eat a ton at one time. So like is the word that's being used to compare those two things there. All right, let's move on to the metaphor notes down at the bottom there. That's on the next page. Oop, I'm sorry. We're going to actually just work on simile practice right now. So you're going to flip to the next page that says simile and metaphor practice. So that's the first page where it kind of looks like there's notes. It's not the paragraphs with the ladder and Albert Einstein yet. It's the simile and metaphor practice first page. So we're going to write similes about the subjects listed below. Remember to make a connection using like or as. So the first one is done for you, the new car. The new car was as shiny as a diamond ring. Okay, you are going to be writing the next one down, the weeping willow tree. I'd like you to come up with a simile to compare that weeping willow tree with something. Now, if you don't know what a weeping willow tree is, it's usually a pretty large tree that kind of looks like an umbrella. Its leaves are very long and skinny, and the branches kind of fall down and they look like a big umbrella. So I don't know if there's something you can compare that with. Maybe you can use umbrella, or maybe think of something else that kind of looks like an umbrella or that weeping willow tree shape that you can compare using like or as with. The next one is the river, or a river of some sort. Think about what a river looks like, what it does. Think about how you can compare something to that river using like or as. My aunt's new haircut. This could be interesting. I can't wait to see your examples of that. And then my cat. Go ahead and pause the video while you write down your examples, and go ahead and write them directly on the notes underneath each sentence or topic that's given to you there. All right, let's move on to metaphors. So now you're going to flip back to the page that we took the simile notes on, where we gave the definition of a simile, and we had the snow was like a blanket, she ate like a bird examples in that box. So down below, the bottom of that page, we're going to fill this out. Metaphors are another way to compare two things. Oops, I'm sorry that all that text is down below there. A metaphor states a fact or draws a verbal picture by saying that one thing is another. So again, it's comparing two things, but you're not going to see that word like or that word as in these. If you do, that's a simile. Now, it's another way to compare two things, but it's kind of saying one is something else. So time is money. His heart was stone. Okay, so these aren't literal. His heart is not actually a piece of stone or a rock, but it's saying that his heart is like a stone, or time is like money. But time and money are not the same things. And saying one thing is another. They're just comparing that to and kind of painting this vivid picture in your mind of this comparison. Okay, more examples. Her hair is silk, and the mall was a circus. Go ahead and copy those down. So again, her hair is silk. Silk is not actually what hair is made of, but it's saying her hair is so shiny and soft, just like silk. Okay, so it's comparing those two things, saying it is that, or one thing is another, and it's helping you draw that verbal picture in your mind. The mall was a circus. Now, we all know that a mall and a circus are not the same things, but it's saying the mall was so busy that it was just like a circus. So many people there, crazy people running around. So it's helping you paint that verbal picture in your mind. All right, let's flip to the next page. So down at the bottom of the page, we already filled out the top half of the simile metaphor practice. We're going to fill out that chart at the bottom. It says column A lists 4 nouns, column B lists 4 nouns. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and fill in 4 nouns, which are a person, place, thing, or idea in column A, and then 4 different nouns in column B. And we're going to be comparing some of those with it. So go ahead, pause this video, write yours down. All right, let's see what we have here. So then you're going to create 2 metaphors by choosing a noun from column A and a noun from column B to compare it to. Okay, so down below you have 2 there, and you're just going to choose 2 out of the 4. I know on this slide here it says 4 sentences, but you're going to just choose 2. Choose 2, and then write them down in the spot below the boxes with your column A and column B listing 4 nouns in each. So in mine, one of my nouns in column A is dog. Okay, so my first noun in column A is dog. My second noun in column B is Energizer Bunny. So I'm going to choose those 2. Now, if you notice that your first noun in column A and your first noun in column B don't really relate to each other, that's totally fine. Choose another one from column B because you have 4 in each one. Or choose another one from column A. Find 1 in column A, 1 in column B that kind of match up with each other. And I had to go back. The reason why I just paused this video is I realized that none of my nouns really related to each other, what I had originally written down. So I changed one of mine because I thought, okay, dog, that's an easy thing to compare to. That was my first noun written down in column A. Okay, that I don't really have anything to compare that to. So I rewrote one of my nouns in column B to say Energizer Bunny. So now I'm going to write a sentence comparing dog and Energizer Bunny to show that my metaphor. So my dog is the Energizer Bunny. Now that is not literally true. My dog is not a bunny. It's not the Energizer bunny from the commercials. But that metaphor is telling me that my dog never runs out of energy. She always has energy, and she's always crazy, running around, wanting to play and fetch and run. So I'm comparing her to the Energizer Bunny because she has so much energy. So I would write that down, or that sentence down, however I'm choosing to word that sentence. down on number 1 at the bottom of my notes page. So my dog is the Energizer Bunny is what I have written down. My dog is the Energizer Bunny. Okay, so now you are going to choose another 2 nouns, one from column A, one from column B, that you can write your second sentence about. Again, if you realize that you don't really have any that relate to each other, find one that you really want to write about in column A or column B, and then choose a different noun that you can compare it to that would be an easy relation between the two. Okay, so you should have 2 sentences written down at the bottom of this page. Let's go back here. So you should have 2 sentences written down underneath the boxes that are shown above here, but in your notes page. Okay, then we're going to move on to the next page. Now this page has the ladder on there. There's a paragraph below, and then the questions that you are going to answer, you can write them down at the bottom there, but then there's also going to be a Google form at the end of the slideshow showing you that I'll attach the Google form onto the assignment on Google Classroom here, but it's going to have you submit your answers once you write them down in your notes page so that you have them and I can see that you have found them. So you're going to read the paragraph below and answer the questions down below. So I will read this out loud to you. If you want to follow along, you're more than welcome to. If you want to pause the video right now and just read it to yourself quickly, you're more than welcome to do that also. Let's face it, every window gets dirty. Cleaning windows in your own home might not be too challenging, but have you ever thought about the men and women who are tasked with cleaning the windows along skyscrapers? High-rise window washers must tackle extreme heights, the environment, and various building designs. It is a dangerous career. In many ways, a high-rise window washer needs to be as daring as a tightrope walker. There are no safety nets in this profession. It is a risky job that helps many people enjoy the view. All right, so my first question down below, find and underline the figurative language in the passage. I found one when I was reading, okay? Remember, there are a couple key words. We're looking for similes and metaphors, or just one or the other in this paragraph. So similes, we're trying to find the words like or as. So quickly glance through and see if you see the words like or as in this paragraph, and that might give us a good hint at what we can find for figurative language in this paragraph. I see one down toward the bottom of the paragraph. It says, in many ways, a high-rise window washer needs to be as daring as a tightrope walker. I would go ahead and underline that sentence. So in many ways, a high-rise window washer needs to be as daring as a tightrope walker. All right, so find and underline. We got problem 1 done. Find and underline the figurative language in the passage. What type of figurative language did you identify? What did we find? We found simile. So go ahead and write simile because that word as is in there. If you want to circle the word as in the paragraph that you underlined, go ahead and do that too if that helps you show that it is a simile. What 2 things are being compared? Okay, you're going to fill those in the blank. What 2 things are being compared? Daring or window washer and tightrope walker. Okay, window washer and tightrope walker. Now, those are not the same people. Those are not the same professions. They're probably total opposites. But what's nice is we are able to compare those 2 because they're both risky jobs and daring jobs. What is the meaning of the figurative language? I kind of just gave that away. They both need to be very daring and they are both risky jobs. So go ahead and write that in on your line down below for number 4. All right, let's turn to the Albert Einstein one. The form that is on here is going to show, you are going to read through the Albert Einstein passage, and the Google form that will be attached is for the Albert Einstein one, not the latter paragraph. So you're going to do the same thing that you did on the paragraph or the latter paragraph as the Albert Einstein one. You're going to read the paragraph, then you're going to answer the questions. What I would do is write them down in your notes, and then once you are confident in your answers, written down on this page where the paragraph is, I would then type it in on the Google form because that's what I'm seeing. I want to see your answers. I want to see if you were able to find the figurative language and determine what type of figurative language it was. Now, I will tell you, it will either be a simile or a metaphor. Okay, so it's not going to be any of the others because we haven't learned about those ones yet. You're going to fill out questions 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in your notes below, and then also on the Google form attached to this assignment on Google Classroom. Good luck, and let me know if you have any questions.